Well, hello there everyone, it's uxwbill here again with another computer video. And there's something else about this video that's different, which you'll probably notice right away. In fact, the dead giveaway is the difference in aspect ratio from my normal videos. This one is being shot in the 4:3 aspect ratio as opposed to the 16:9. What I have here is something that I actually purchased from a coworker who was moving away, and this is one of those good deals that a person should never get into. To put it mildly, they probably should have paid me to take it, but I'm only out a couple of bucks, so it was no big deal. And they actually paid Bizarre Furhead to help him move house, so, you know, he made it all back, so I don't feel too bad about it. This is a Dell Dimension, come on, autofocus, 2350. And as you might remember, if you happened to watch that video, I actually found a Dell Dimension 2300 that was set out for the trash collection. And I still have that machine. It's in wonderful shape. This one, as you can see, is all scuffed and scratched up. And it looks pretty good now because I cleaned it. I actually should have gotten some video of my cleaning it so you could see how disgusting it really was inside. There was crud and dust bunnies coming out of the floppy drive. Anyway, those of you who've watched my videos or read my comments for a while now will probably remember that I also really like this particular family of Dell machine. The reason being that these were brilliant little machines for the money, but they had one fatal flaw. Dell never put enough memory in these things at the price points that attracted people to buy them. You could buy the Dell Dimension 2400 back in the day for a $300 bill excluding sales tax. A lot of people jumped on it. A lot of people didn't realize that 128 megabytes worth of memory was not enough to run Windows XP satisfactorily. And so I suspect that many of these machines ended up in the landfill, which is unfortunate because although they're no high performance, overclockable gaming rig, they are a solid, stable, dependable workhorse that just keeps on keeping on. And they're cool running and they don't draw a lot of power. Plus they're actually reasonably expandable for the size and form factor that they have. But it just amazes me how people don't take care of their stuff. The first sign of that is all the scuffing on the case. And you can't see it now because this has been cleaned up and I actually pulled the telephone modem that this thing comes with. But in here, this was from a non-smoking household, and in here were all kinds of brown, for want of a better way to describe them, Goombas. I've never seen anything quite like it. You can still see a few of them back in there. Looks like maybe they're the byproduct of a spider or an insect or something like that. But as found, this system didn't even boot up. I pressed the power button, the power supply fan came on, the hard drive spun up, everything happened like it was supposed to. But the one thing that it would not do, it would not complete its power on self-test. In fact, it just kind of sat here with the power and hard drive lights stuck on constantly. And I never did figure out for sure what the 4 diagnostic LEDs were doing, but I believe they were all orange at the time, which is generally a bad sign. So what did I do? I took the motherboard out of this thing and I washed it by hand. And I actually should have done a video about that, but I didn't. Despite its simplicity and the lack of an AGP slot, although you can tell they thought about it, this is a notable improvement from the 2300 series machine, because the 2300 series machine gives you 4 PCI slots and no artifact for an AGP slot. So it's very interesting. I don't think there's a whole lot that separates the 2350 from the 2400 because everything about the boards, including that Broadcom Ethernet chip, is basically identical between the two of them. The flip-up fan guide actually works properly in this system. I did not totally clean the fan, but what I did was definitely an improvement. You can see more of the ick over there. And the fan, of course, was suffering from bad bearings. But like I say, it just amazes me what people do with their computer equipment. Somebody went to the trouble, the previous owners went to the trouble of installing a Memorex CD burner in this thing, which is nothing more than a rebadged light-on drive, and they never set the jumpers up properly, so the only drive that ever showed up was the original Dell-issued CD-ROM. So that was kind of pointless, but in a moment I had it figured out because I set the jumpers back to cable select and everything was good. They had two masters on the chain, and instead of that locking up the system, it just politely ignored this drive up here, and this one down here kept working. The floppy drive actually works. Everything works well now, but I was really surprised that washing this motherboard was actually sufficient to bring it back to life, because I tried first pulling out the CMOS battery to see if it simply needed to be reset, and after sitting with the battery out overnight, it wasn't any happier. So I simply stripped the board down, pulled the battery off of it, and gave it a good hand washing, after which it came back to life, and everything has been fine ever since. It's been perfectly reliable, and I think this will make a decent little workstation for some project or another. Whoever did own this, my coworker owned it, they did hit upon the idea that 128 megabytes of RAM was not really enough, so they put in another 256 megabyte module there. Anyway, that's pretty much all there is to say about this machine. It just really continues to come as a shock to me. It's missing some rubber feet too. That people just don't take care of some of their stuff sometimes. Stuff that they spend real money on. Oh well. Chinese food.